So friends, in this cold management training session, now we are going to discuss on the fruit ripening technologies and the ripening chambers. So basically, in the previous sessions, you have been told about the cold chain management, and the basic aim of the cold chain management is to extend the shelf life of the produce and how we can maintain the quality in the storages. But here, how we can ripen the product, because without ripening we cannot eat the fruits. So friends, in this cold management training session, now we are going to discuss on the fruit ripening technologies and the ripening chambers. So basically, in the previous sessions, you have been told about the cold chain management, and the basic aim of the cold chain management is to extend the shelf life of the produce and how we can maintain the quality in the storages. But here, how we can ripen the product, because without ripening we cannot eat the fruits, and therefore in the storages our aim is to extend the shelf life and how we can reduce the ripening process. But before retail marketing, ripening is very essential. Either they may be the climacteric fruits or they may be the non-climacteric fruits. Therefore, this ripening technology is also equally important in the cold chain management, and because we are maintaining the temperature here and the gaseous composition here, therefore it is related with the cold chain management. So if you understand the ripening, that what is the ripening scientifically, and generally we mean to say that ripening means it is the aesthetic value, or it is the proper stage when we can eat the fruit for the table purpose. But for the scientifically, we can say that it is the stage of the maturity. And in the stage of the maturity, if you see in the life of the fruits, there are the various stages in the growth and development. And in this growth and development, when the fruit reaches to the maturity stage, that is the physiological maturity, and after that there is the stage when the qualitative changes are occurred. So up to the maturity there is the quantitative changes. Change may be in the size, may be in the volume, may be in the weight. But after reaching to the physiological maturity, there is the change in the quality. Like your color is changed, your mineral composition is changed, TSS may be the high. So all these are the aesthetic values that is related with the your eating quality. So it is more related with the eating quality, and it is the later stage of the maturity and early stage of the senescence. Senescence means it is the post-ripening phenomena when the fruit will be rotten. So it is in between these two stages, that stage is known as the your ripening stages. So with the ripening, you see there are the various qualitative changes occurs in the fruits. These changes generally we can see. For example, your color is changed, and generally in the unripened fruits up to the maturity, color may be the green, and at the time of the ripening, this green or this your chlorophyll pigment will be converted into some other kind of the pigments that is determined the color of the your fruits. For example, if the red color is there, then lycopene may be dominated. If the yellow color is there, then your caricaxanthins may be dominated. So purple color is there, then the anthocyanin may be dominated. So your color is enhanced, then yellowness in the fruits in the more ripened stage will be enhanced, then aroma. So your flavor and aroma are the two aspects in the fruits which is related with the eating quality also. And if you see that the bananas which are not ripened, and if the truck is shipped from there, you cannot identify that what is inside the truck. But if the bananas are the ripened, then easily without seeing you can see this is the aroma of the banana. So typical aroma is there for the type of the fruits, and it is determined on the what type of the aroma is dominated in that type of the fruits. So your aroma and flavor are enhanced with the increase in the ripening. Then sugars, definitely it is increased. So sugars, and it is the indirect relationship with the TSS also. So total soluble sugars as well as the other type of the sugars are increased. Soluble proteins and the polymerized tannins are also increased. But you see, at the same time, your green color is degraded, acidity is degraded, starches are converted into the sugars, therefore the starches are also degraded. Then the flesh firmness, which is one of the important criteria for selection of the fruits along with the your color. So your flesh firmness is also reduced with the enhancement of the ripening, and then the insoluble pectins and your unpolymerized tannins, all these are reduced. At the same time, two important phenomena occur. One is with the respiration and other one is the ethylene. So these two are very important in the life of the fruits or the vegetables. For the ripening, your respiration rate should be increased in a very small period of the time. So with the within the few hours to the 1 or the 2 days, there are the manifold increase in the respiration, and this increase in the respiration is coincides with the increase in the ethylene evolution rates. So these are very important for the ripening. Even they may be the climacteric fruit or the non-climacteric fruit, your ethylene is must for the ripening. If they are ripened on the plant itself, even ethylene is there. If it is off the plant, even ethylene should be required for the ripening of the fruits. So your respiration rate and ethylene, these are the two phenomena which are required for the ripening. So according to the respiration rates, we can classify the fruits into the two categories. One is the non-climacteric type of the fruit and other one is the climacteric type of the fruits. And in the layman's definition, we can say that those fruits which can be ripened after harvesting from the plant are termed as the climacteric fruits, and those fruits which cannot be ripened after harvesting from the plant or which cannot be artificially ripened, then it can be termed as the non-climacteric fruits. But this is just a layman's definition. You can say this is the consequence of the climacteric phenomena. So what exactly is the climacteric phenomena? In the climacteric phenomena, there must be the respiration peak. So in the fruits where the respiration peak is present, then you can say it is the climacteric fruit, and due to the respiration peak, it responds to the artificial ethylene or the exogenous ethylene, and therefore the fruits get into the ripening period. So here you can see the graphs of the non-climacteric fruit. This mg or the ml CO2 per kg per hour at 20 degrees Celsius temperature is known as the respiration rates, and here is the time units elapsed after harvesting. So you see there is no dramatic changes in any type of the fruits respiration rates in the lemons, cherries, pineapples, grapes or the strawberries. Either they may be decreased, they may be slightly increased, or they may be the steady ones with the elapse of the time. So this is known as the climacteric fruits. But you see in the non-climacteric fruits, what type of the phenomena is there? There is the rapid increase in the respiration rates, and you see here the rapid increase in the respiration rates in the breadfruit or the cherry moya or the custard apples. Within the few hours, there is the manifold increase in the respiration rates, and this increase in the respiration rate is corresponds with the increase in the ethylene evolution rates also. Sometimes you see in the kitchen gardens, if the banana plant is there, and even in the evening, just banana is in the color turning stage, and if you not harvested that banana from the plant, in the morning you see that bananas are the over ripened, even you cannot harvest, even it may be the perished one. So in the single night, this type of the dramatic effects are there. Therefore always we harvest the bananas before reaching into the red color or in the color turning stage, and after that artificial ripening will be done. So this is the exactly climacteric pattern of the respiration. And in the climacteric pattern of the respiration, you see there are the 5 distinct, very clear stages in the respiration. Number 1 stage where the respiration rate is slightly decreased, that is known as the preclimacteric. Then it reached up to the minimum stage, that is known as the preclimacteric minimum. And after that, there is the sudden rise in the respiration rates, that is known as the climacteric rise. And after that, it reached up to the highest level of the respiration rates, and this stage is known as climacteric peak. And then again there is the reduction in the respiration rates, that is the post-climacteric. So if this type of the respiration pattern is occurred in any fruit, then only you can say it is the climacteric fruits. Otherwise you can't claim that it is non-climacteric fruits. So if you see the examples of the climacteric fruits, generally you see in the mind that what are the climacteric fruits? Those fruits which can be ripened after harvesting from the plant. So your own most of the tropical fruits and even the temperate fruits are the climatic nature of the fruits. For example, apples or the apricots. Then avocado is a typical example of the tropical fruit. Then banana, cherry moyas or the custard apples, then guavas, kiwi fruits, muskmelons, nectarines, all are the climatic fruits. Whereas in the non-climatic category, your full citrus group. Citrus group means your limes, lemons, mandarins, pinos, all comes under the citrus group. And the citrus group is the non-climatic type of the fruits. Cherries, cucumbers, your eggplant or the brinjals, then your peppers, pineapples, strawberries, watermelons are comes under the non-climatic category of the fruits. Here you see these two examples in the melons. Muskmelon is a climatic fruit and your watermelon is a non-climatic type of the fruits. And you must be knowing the proverb that खरबूजे को देखकर खरबूजा रंग बदलता है. So from where this proverb is evolved? You see, the unripened, physiologically mature but the unripened muskmelons. What is the color? It may be the greenish or it may be the whitish according to the variety. And what is the color of the ripened muskmelons? It is the yellowish one generally. So if you have the heap of the 100 or the 200 type which is unmatured muskmelons, it means whitish or the greenish type of the muskmelons are there. And if you put the 4 or 5 yellow colored muskmelons which are the ripened one into this heap, then what will happen? These ripened muskmelons will release the ethylene gas. And due to the increase in the concentration of the ethylene, this exogenous ethylene is very high and it impacts on the other your non-ripened muskmelons, and they will also get into the ripening and they will get the change the color. Therefore from here we say that खरबूजे को देख के खरबूजा रंग बदलता है. अगर आपका खरबूजा पीले कलर का है और दूसरे अगर पीले नहीं है तो उसको देख करके वो भी पीले हो जाएंगे. So this is the scientific reason for this proverb. So here we compare the climacteric and the non-climacteric type of the fruit pattern and what is the impact of the exogenous ethylene on the ripening of this. And you see in the non-climacteric type of the fruits, exogenous ethylene also has some impact on the ripening, but on the very high concentrations up to the 1000 microliter of the C2H4 per liter air, there is the same type of the pattern you seeing, and it is capable of the ripening of the non-climatic type of the fruits also. But here it is inflammable, it is not recommended, it may have some residues, therefore we are not recommending to ripen or to use the ethylene concentration at such a very high levels. So what is the impact of the maturity on the ripening? And here are some of the typical examples. You see, in this case, your maturity and the ripening stages in the apricots, and with the apricots you see how the color is changed and how you can judge the proper maturity. So judging of the proper maturity is very important for the cold house operators who are engaged in this business. And you see the optimal maturity stage is maybe the third one or the fourth one only, but fifth is the again over mature stage. In the tomatoes also there are the clear-cut 6 stages of the ripening, right from the mature green stage to the breaker stage, then turning stage, then light pink stage, and the red stage, and after that there is the over ripening stage. So you see in the tomatoes how you determine the maturity level or the maturity stage for your venture, but it depends upon what is your use. If your use is to transport them for the longer period or the longer distance, then you must be harvest them at the breaker stage only, and therefore up to the reaching of the destination they may be in the light pink stage. If your aim is to just to send it into the retail market and market it in a 1 day or the 2 day, then you have to harvest them at the light pink stage or the at some advanced pink stage. And if our aim is to utilize them for the processing, for the tomato ketchup or for some tomato sauces type of the product, then always you have to harvest the produce at the red ripe stage, at the advanced ripening stage only. So in that case, if our aim is to utilize for the processing tomatoes, then first we spray the ethylene gas, ethylene on the plants itself. And on the plant itself, if 3-4 days earlier you spray the ethylene in the field, then all the tomatoes will be in the same maturity stage after the 3 days, and then you can go for the mechanical harvesting of the tomatoes and you utilize at the same time. Otherwise there will be the staggered harvesting of the tomatoes on the same vine. Some of the tomatoes may be in the red ripe stage, some of the tomatoes may be in the mature green stage even. So there is some difference. So according to that you can choose the ripening stage. What are the proper optimal ripening conditions for the fruits? Although there is no generalized protocol for the ripening of the fruits, but generally we say that some high temperature than the cold storage temperature is required for the ripening of the produce. It may be the 15 degree to the 25 degree according to the maturity stage of the fruit and what type of the commodity you are going to ripen. Then for the relative humidity is again very important, which is neglected generally in the ripening chambers and the cold storages, and due to non-maintaining of the relative humidity, your proper ripening is not reached, or some physiological disorders like blackening may be seen on the produce. So maintenance of the relative humidity is also very important. Then air circulation is again very important for the more uniform temperature and the ethylene concentration management, and the ventilation is very important because here the role of the carbon dioxide is very important. In the post-harvest management lecture, you must be talk about the increase in the level of the carbon dioxide and decrease in the level of the concentration of the oxygens in the modified atmospheres and the controlled atmospheres, because there is our aim is to extend the shelf life and reduce the ripening. But this carbon dioxide is antagonist to the ethylene concentrations. If you are applying the proper concentration, say for example 100 ppm ethylene is recommended and you are applying the 100 ppm ethylene, you are maintaining the proper temperature. For example, the 24 or the 20 degrees Celsius is recommended for some commodities. Even though there is the no proper ripening or there is maybe the delay in the ripening. Why? Because you are not maintaining the concentration of the carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide must be less than 1%. Ideally, it should be around the 0.5% only in the ripening chambers. But if your aim is to extend the shelf life, then it may be up to the 5%, or in some of the commodities it may be the 15% in the controlled atmospheres and the modified atmospheres. So this point has to be kept in mind, that along with the temperature, relative humidity, air circulation, ventilation, you must be control the carbon dioxide concentrations inside the ripening chambers also. So these are the ripening chambers. Not much difference between the ripening chamber and the cold storage. Just here we have the mechanism to induce the ethylene concentration inside the ripening chambers, and you have the digital panels that can control the CO2 concentration as well as your temperatures, relative humidity and the ethylene concentrations. So how you stack the produce inside the ripening rooms? Again, it may be depends on the type of the ripening rooms, that what type of the ripening rooms you will choose. Just I will give you the two examples of the ripening chambers in the coming slides. So in the ripening conditions for some of the common fruits, you see for the avocados, exposure time for the 100 ppm of the ethylene should be 8 to 48 hours depending on the maturity of the produce. And your ripening temperature should be 15 to 20 degrees Celsius, and again it is depends on the maturity of stage of the produce. For the bananas, we generally recommend the 100 ppm ethylene from 24 hours to the 48 hours at 14 to 18 degrees Celsius temperature. But again, how fast you want the ripening. You want the ripening in the 4 days, you want the ripening in the 5 days, you want the ripening in the 6 days. On that basis, your temperature is also varied. Then in the kiwi fruits, only the 12 to 14 hours exposure is required at 100 ppm ethylene levels. The temperature should be 12 to 25 degrees Celsius. For the mangoes, it is in between the 20 to 25 degrees Celsius temperature, and your exposure time should be 24 to 48 hours only. and the same exposure time and the temperature should be maintained for the pears, and for tomatoes it is greatly differs with the stage of the maturity, and it may be the 24 hours to the 72 hours. Avocado I leave, but here you see in case of the bananas. So in case of the banana ripening, you see after the 7 days at 20 degrees Celsius temperature, in the first set these are in the controlled condition, it means there is no exposure of the exogenous ethylene levels. In the second case, we give the ethylene concentration 100 ppm ethylene concentration, and you see the clear cut difference between the exogenous ethylene concentrations and without ethylene concentrations, and therefore this ethylene is safe chemical and it should be used for the ripening of the your bananas or any of the fruits. Here are the different type of the bananas are there. These are different type of the varieties. Plantains are altogether different from the bananas. These are the cooking type of the bananas, and here you also see the effect of this ethylene, 100 ppm ethylene in first case for the 2 days, and after here for the 3 days at the 20 degrees Celsius temperature. It means 3 days temperature is the simulation temperature and 2 days is the exposure time for the ethylene, and you see that how the color is changed and how they get into the ripening stage. So these are the ripening conditions for the bananas. Generally we maintain the fruit temperature. Please see, this is very important. This is the fruit temperature. This is not the your cold storage temperature or the ripening chamber temperature. Ripening chamber temperature may be slightly high, may be slightly low, but you have to maintain the pulp temperature inside the bananas. So your 14 to 18 degrees Celsius temperature has to be maintained. Relative humidity should be very high for the bananas. It is better to maintain the 95% relative humidity for the ripening. Ethylene concentration should be 100 ppm and exposure time is 24 to 48 hours with CO2 concentration should be less than 1%. So you see the banana ripening table. If you want to ripen the bananas in the 4 days, then what protocol you have to adopt? You have to be expose the ethylene 100 ppm ethylene for at 18 degrees Celsius on first day and the second day. Then on the third day you have to reduce the temperature 16.5 degree. Then on the fourth day 15.5 degree, and on the fifth day 14.5 degrees Celsius temperature, and you have to maintain that temperature, and you can store or you can go for the retail marketing. If your aim is to get the ripening on the 5th day, so 16.5 degrees Celsius temperature you have to maintain for the first 4 days, then reduce the temperature 15.5, then 14.5. For 6 days, first 2 days 16.5 degree, then next 3 days you have to maintain 15.5 degrees Celsius temperature, and then maintain 14.5 degrees Celsius temperature. If you want to be on the retail marketing on the 7th day, then your exposure for the ethylene should be at the 15.5 degrees Celsius temperature for the first 5 days, and after that 14.5 degrees Celsius temperature you have to be maintained, and for the 8 days throughout this period you have to maintain the 14.5 degrees Celsius temperature. So this is very important on the how many days you want to take for the marketing. So your ripening room dimensions in this case should be the 24 pallets with the 48 boxes of 18 kgs of the bananas each. This is the standard one for the your doll bananas even. Then the 24 pallets, it means the 1 full truck load is there, and your also room size should be the 0.51 or the 1.5 or the 2 truck loads are there, and the standard ranges for the ripening coolers should also be there, and there is the standard ranges are available for all type of these dimensions. So in the banana ripening there are the 2 types of the stacks you can utilize. One is the block stage and other one is the tight stacks, and in the tight stacks also there is the 3 different types. One is by utilize the tarps, that is the tarp system. Then the airbag or the side curtain system you can use, and this Chiquita is also used there on pellet system, that is the Chiquita 2000 system is there. So in the block stage, what is going on? There is the 5 boxes per layer they maintain, and in the interspace is also there. Their interspace between the pellets is there. Flow around the air circulation are maintained. Then ripening process is hard to control in this block stage type of the system, and in the long ripening period, minimum ripening period should be the 6 days in this case. So now it is the out of date system, and now we are utilizing the tight stack system in the industry, where the 6 boxes per layer, and there is no interspace between these boxes layers, and no interspace between the pellets also. Flow through air circulation we are maintaining, just like as your forced air cooling. So flow through air system we are maintained, and the controllable ripening process is there, shorter ripening period, and you can reduce the ripening period by utilizing this type of staking by the 2 days, and this is the high end quality, and you get the very early ripened bananas that is within the 4 days of the utilization. So all these are the equipment layout for the ripening rooms, and this is just like as your other refrigeration systems, that how you can maintain and how you can prepare the layout for the equipments. Then what is the effect of the temperature during the ripening on the banana quality attributes? And you see the firmness or the color quality or the eating quality with the increase in the temperature. So if you maintain it less than 15 degree, around the 13 to 15 degrees Celsius temperature, then the best condition is there, best quality scores you maintain. If you reduce the temperature less than the 13 degrees Celsius, then the chilling injury will affect, and if you further increase the temperature, then again there is the reduction in the quality scores, either maybe the firmness or the color quality or your eating qualities. So you see the effect of the concentration of the ethylenes on the ripening. So in the first case, it is the air control. It means there is no artificial ethylene treatment is given. In the second case, 10 ppm ethylene concentration is given. Then in third case, 100 ppm ethylene, and then 1000 ppm ethylene. And what we see, there is the clear-cut difference between the control and the ethylene concentrations. Then there is the difference between the 10 ppm ethylene and the 100 ppm ethylene. And in the 100 ppm ethylene, you get the better yellow life of the bananas than the 10 ppm ethylene. But there is no difference between the 100 ppm and the 1000 ppm ethylene. Therefore, we recommend the 100 ppm ethylene to utilize in the banana. And if you measure the respiration rates means if you are measuring the milligrams of the CO2 that is evolved during the respiration by the 1 kg of fluid in 1 hour at the definite temperature, and generally standard temperature we take the 20 degrees Celsius for measuring the respiration rates or the ethylene evolution rates. And here you see that how this respiration rate is increased, and clear cut case of the climacteric ripening. Here you see all these 5 stages of the climacteric pattern, and how the color is changed with the your ripening pattern, and you get the good color in the climacteric peak and just after the post climacteric phenomenon. So you see the effect of the carbon dioxide, and we say that carbon dioxide level should be less than 1%. Why it should be the less than 1%? Here you can see all these mature green bananas, and all these bananas exposed for the 2 days for 100 ppm ethylene concentration. It means other conditions are similar. These are exposed for the 100 ppm ethylene for the proper maintenance of the time, that is around the 18 degrees Celsius temperature. And you see in the air control means where the ethylene is not given, they are still greener. In the C2H for control means only the 100 ppm ethylene, and here in the next case 100 ppm along with the 100 ppm ethylene 1% carbon dioxide levels are there, In this third case, along with the 100 ppm ethylene, 3% carbon dioxide levels are maintained, and there 5%. So you see in the second, third, fourth and fifth the difference. And why this difference? This difference is due to the carbon dioxide percentage only. Other conditions are similar, temperature is similar, relative humidity is similar, exposure time is similar, ethylene concentration is also similar, but only difference is in the carbon dioxide concentration. And you see, even at the 1% level of the carbon dioxide, they are not in the proper stage of the ripening. Its yellow color is not attained even, but in the C2H4 control, yellow color is there. Therefore, we recommend that always you have to maintain less than 1% CO2 level in the ripening chambers. Here this is the effect of the relative humidity, and we recommend almost 95% relative humidity inside the ripening chambers. So in the saturated air, first one, saturated air means 100 ppm, 100% relative humidity is there. In the second case, ambient air where the 80% relative humidity is maintained. Third case, 95% relative humidity, and fourth case, 65% relative humidity. So you see, at the 65% relative humidity, they are just like as the chilling type of the bananas. There are the burning effects may be there. At the 80% also there is some effect, but on the 95% or in the saturated air, they are in the perfect stage. So we recommend generally the 95% of the relative humidity inside the chambers. Then if you see for the mango maturity indices, and in the mango maturity indices, the best determination of the maturity is according to the shoulder development and then the color. And color should be characteristic to the variety. Characteristic to the variety means we have the more than 1000 type of the varieties cultivating in our country, and they may be vary even from the green to the saffron stain to the red to some other kind of the colors. So all type of the colors or the tinges of the colors are on the skin of the mangoes. But according to the cultivar, you have to define the color. And the second important stage is the your shoulder development. So how you determine the shoulder development? If you critically see the mangoes for the maturity, you see that before reaching into the your physiological maturity, what is the shape of the mangoes? Shape is just like that. Here is the pedicel from which it is attached with the plant, and if this is the mango, then this type of the structure is there. With the attainment of the maturity, just you see the effect, and this type of the bananas are there. So these are the shoulder development. The shoulders are developed, and inside that there is the depression at the pedicel stage. So you can determine accordingly, and then of course the fresh color or the increase in the soluble solids content. So here you see that how this shape is changed. You can clearly see from here that how the shape is changed, and you can determine the colors. So here is the ripening conditions for the bananas. It should be the 20 to 22 degrees Celsius. For the storages, we recommend the temperature is around your 12 or the 12.7 degrees Celsius. But here slightly high temperature, 22 degree, relative humidity 95%, ethylene concentration 100%, and your exposure time is around 12 to 24, and carbon dioxide levels are always less than 1%. How this ripening affects the freshness of the fruits, and firmness is decreased with the increase in the ripening stages. So this is related with the starch disappearance in the kiwi fruits, and also if you see in the apples also, this starch is one of the important criteria for determination of the maturities, and with the increase in the maturity, your starches are always degraded. And if you test this with the 4% starch iodine test, and in which if you dip these slices in the 4% iodine solution, then you can get such type of the stainings. So if it is in the advanced ripening stage, then staining will be very light. So all these are the changes which are associated with the ripening in any type of the fruits. This is the specific example of the kiwi fruit, but soluble solids are increased. Ethylene concentrations are also increased, CO2 concentrations are also increased, firmness is rapidly decreased. in all type of the fruits. So here you see the maturity and the ripening stages of the nectarines 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And first one is the immature stage. Second is the mature green stage. Third one is the partially ripe, and fourth one is the ripe stage. So how we can determine all these things? So your delayed cooling is directly related with the your maturity stage and your staining or the color inside the pulp even. So your delayed cooling is the conditioning of the ripening of the peaches to reduce the internal breakdown, and this internal breakdown is very important physiological disorder in case of your peaches. So you see the effect of the temperatures 5 degrees Celsius for the 20 days, in the second case 0 degrees Celsius for 20 days, and 20 degrees Celsius for the 48 hours, followed by 5 degrees Celsius temperature for the 20 days. And in the first case 100% milliness is there, in the second case 43% milliness is there, and in the third case 0% milliness is there. It means your temperature conditioning. Temperature conditioning means just you give the 20 degrees Celsius higher temperature conditioning for the 48 hours duration, and after giving that such high temperature conditioning for the 2 days, then you shift this permanently in the cold storages at the 5 degrees Celsius temperature. Then you will not get any type of the milliness in the peaches. If you directly put them in the 5 degrees Celsius for the 20 days, then 100% milliness is there. If you directly store them at the 0 degree Celsius temperature for the 20 days, then 43% milliness is there. So this your intermittent warming, you can see, or your preconditioning of the high temperature, this is also very important in some type of the fruits. So here the requirement of the ripening chamber, one is the building design. So your building design, all these standards are given in the BIS standards, and you can take directly from there, and the local regulations are also there. In the ripening room doors, also there is some standards for the hinged doors, or even for the your high closed doors are also there. Multi-tier rolling types of the doors are also available, and for the insulation also your PUF standards or in the panels are also given by the NHB also. So in the refrigeration systems, in the ventilation and the air circulation, we have already talked that it should be the less than 1% CO2 levels, and the sensors of the electric control systems can also be put into force in your chambers. So for the ripening, I say that ethylene is the safe for the ripening. We have to utilize this, but how the ethylene can be utilized? Ethylenes are available in the gas cylinders. There are the gas cylinders are available for the ethylenes. Then the compressed ethylene gas is also available. Then your ethylene generators are also available, and this, if you use these ethylene generators, they will be the cheaper than the pure ethylene gas cylinders. So always we recommend the ethylene gas generators for the utilization. Here just you put the ethanol in the generators, and at the high temperatures this ethanol is in the contact with the asbestos sheet, and it acts as a catalyst, and then it will convert into the ethylene gases. So this ethylene gas generator is better option, and ethylene sachets are also available which can be utilized even in the your packaging systems. So some precautions you have to be taken, and around your 0.3%, 0.1 to 0.3% your ethylene is inflammable also. So always you have to avoid all these concentrations in the ripening chambers. All are the some useful things that your harvesting period and the maturity stage and the ripening chamber should be your insulated, airtight, and the construction should be based on your standard recommendations of the National Horticulture Board, Gurgaon. Then your treatment with the ethylene, and in no case ethylene concentration should be higher than the 150 ppm. Ideally we have to be maintained the 100 ppm. Sometimes if the generators are not available, or your gas cylinders even they are not available, some of the industries they utilize the say ethane or the ethylene for generation of the ethylene gas. but you have to not utilize the dipping of the fluids in the solution. Just you have to be generate the ethylene concentration by making the solutions in the chambers. If you dip the fluid inside the chamber, then residue may be there, and in the export you have lot of the problem. And few years back our mango consignments were returned from the Europe just because they ripened due to the ethyl or the ethiophon only. Then our ICR has made some guidelines, and you should not use more than 100 ppm concentration of the ethiophon also for ripening of the fruits or the vegetables. So your carbon dioxide, I always say that it should be less than 1%, but ideally it should be the 0.5% only. Then we have very wonderful technology, that is the Smart Fresh. Or this Smart Fresh technology is the 1-MCP, 1-methyl cyclopropene, and it has to be extend the shelf life of the fruits. It is utilized for reducing the ripening of the fruits. Earlier in our country we have no regulations for utilization of this 1-MCP, but for the last 2 years now Government of India has also regulations for the utilization of the 1-MCP. However, it is in the insecticide control order only, but you can utilize this, that is known as the Smart Fresh technology, in the fruits and vegetables. And if you are utilize this 1-MCP in the flowers, then it is known as the your ethyl blocks. So these two type of the technologies are there. So in the ripening chambers, first you have to stress on the designing of the ripening chamber, then your equipments, then third thing is calculate the load of the ripening chamber, fourth one is the proper protocol maintenance in the ripening chamber, that is the gaseous protocol also, that is the according to the maturity, temperature, relative humidity, and all these things. So all these are very important for the industry point of view, that how you can manage the ethylene concentration, how you can manage the CO2 concentration, and how you can get the benefit in the better management and the benefit in the your ripening chambers. So with this I complete here.